The Grammys are over. The Super Bowl is over. Drake and Party Next Door released their album. It's back at #1. Is Kendrick's run over? We're going to talk about that and more on this episode of the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. Stay tuned.
Arkatech Beatz.
What's up, everybody? It's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We are your hosts, platinum producers, Arkatech Beatz. I'm Juggernaut.
I'm sorry.
He laughing right.
I just had to laugh out the gate because I know the hate that's just gonna come right away as soon as you said what you said.
The hatred is going to come out on this episode. I know the hatred is going to come out, but I feel vindicated because I've been saying this shit for 6 months or better. So I feel vindicated that it's all coming to fruition. I feel vindicated, but we got to talk about it, Mike. We got to talk about this stuff.
Look, I'm Mike Trauma D, Arkatech Beatz Podcast. Let's go. Let's talk about it.
I feel vindicated because honestly, look, Party Next Door, Drake dropped the album Friday, right? Valentine's Day. It's skyrocketing up the chart. Everything is going #1, and it's not even doing big numbers like that. It's not doing big numbers in comparison to its other releases, right? But because it is a joint, it is a joint album, but it's still breaking records. Yeah. It's still saying it's the fastest #1 on Spotify for the year, right? And all kind of different things that they're trying to say. I listened to the album. You know, you listen to the album? Have you listened to the album? Because
I listened to it here and there. Driving to, and it's what you expect as far as Valentine's and
R&B,
right? So right. You got that. If that's what you're looking for, that's what you got. But there's that one record on there that really stood out.
We're gonna talk about that. You gotta talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But we gotta. We have to give it an appropriate review. So I guess when you get a chance to really listen to it, I've listened to it several times. If you ask me, it's not for me, right? Like in this situation. So I want people to know that off gate. Like I'm not here. I'm as critical as I was of GNX. I'm critical on this one. It's not really for me. It's kind of more R&B, more lovey-dovey. Some records I think are good. Some records I think are like incredible. And, so honestly, it doesn't really, it gives me, I rated the way that I rated GNX, kind of like, probably 7 out of 10. Nothing to really go crazy over, but the internet going crazy over it. Let me just say that, you know what I'm saying? So the internet is loving it because a lot of the reason why I believe that they're loving it is because there's been a Drake drought. So they're just so happy to get some Drake music. So I think that some of it is I think a lot of it is just a little bit more hype. But we got to talk about this because we got to talk about how everything was leading up for an explosion between the 5 Grammys, the Super Bowl, right? Week after week. And that Super Bowl was supposed to be the proverbial nail in the coffin. And I said that, and I put that in a video and I reposted that video, and people were mad as hell when I said that the Super Bowl performance was supposed to be the proverbial nail in the coffin for Drake from Kendrick Lamar. And I said back then that show was going to fall flat for the Super Bowl because he wasn't really a quote unquote Super Bowl caliber artist. Like it's I said that with no shade. That was just my opinion. And then when it happened, people were underwhelmed. People were underwhelmed. He's a great hip hop performer. So in terms of a hip hop performance, yes, I can understand people saying, "Yo, it's a great performance," because in terms of how hip hop performances normally are, right. Yeah, it's a great hip hop performance, but not a Super Bowl caliber performance.
But what's funny, Jug? It's like what I really hate is when people start making excuses.
God, the message.
So basically, if you're not feeling it, or you consider it weak, or falls flat or whatever you want to say, immediately people are like, "Oh, it went over your head. It was too much for you." It's like,
you're not smart enough
yeah,
to
like
catch
come
the
on,
symbolism in the
yeah,
messages. Like,
the
come on,
Easter
bro.
eggs and this, that, and the third, and it's like, come on, knock it off, man. Like, dude, like you can't like people have such a hard time when you say you don't like something or you're not feeling something. Like, just let it be. Like, to attack a person, attack a person's character just because they're not feeling something. I mean, aren't we all here because we have a difference of opinion and different ways of doing things, different ways of grinding, different ways
No,
of getting it, different ways of like. That's why we all here, and that's what pushes each other forward. So when people disagree, people get offended. Like,
it only applies to him though, because if you don't like Drake, they love you. But it only applies if you have any criticism of Kendrick, it's like the level of vitriol that comes your way. It's like, wow, like he's like rabid dogs. Like, what's going on? Like with this, like, yo, all we said is that it could be better,
mhm.
right? Like, that's all we've ever been saying is that based on his talent level, that it could be better. That's what we've been saying. That's all we've been saying from day one. We never said, yo, it's like he's the worst or this or that, or he's not part of a new generation of dope lyricists and artists. We never said that. All we said was it could be better based on the level of talent that we see from him. It could be better. What is wrong with saying that it could be better?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the same thing for Drake. In some cases, it could be better.
I think, really, to be honest, I think that just the overall delivery of what he's doing could be better. I think people get it, but it's like they get it in a way that like we're getting our nutrients and our vitamins, but the way we're getting it is like the taste is like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, give it to us in a way it tastes good. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I think that's part of it. It's like, yeah, we get it. We get the message. We get, the Easter eggs and all of that is cool. We get all that stuff. But I guess, the way it's being delivered in some instances, people have a preference on how it's delivered. You know what I'm saying? Some people like a certain type of rap and tone. When some people just don't like the different voices and all those other antics and all those things. People just rap. Let's get to it. You know. So I think that has a lot to do with it. Just the way it's being delivered. Some people just are not into that. Period.
So when we talk about like 1 to 5 Grammys, all right,
Hmm.
like Not Like Us wins all these Grammys, and somebody made a point, and I kind of agree with it. Eminem Lose Yourself didn't win that many Grammys. 50 Cent in the Club didn't win that many Grammys. Are we saying that this song is better than those songs?
I think you have a different group of people in position that is championing these things. Yeah, it's not the old guard. So it's kind of you can't really. It's
So
not a fair
basically,
comparison.
it's just the industry trying to send a message. So we're not taking the song. We're not saying that the song is that good. We're just saying that the body of the academy wants the song to be, that. But it's
Well,
not necessarily because it really is that.
it's the type of people who are there now. It's not the same people who were there 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
So it's kind of unfair to even say it's this or that. The bottom line is like it's not the same people. So, and this bunch of people have a different agenda and hear things differently, and may not even have been around for some of the other records or in position for some of the old records or whatever the case may be. So it's an unfair comparison. But of course, to us, we're gonna say those records was powerful and strong and this and that and the third. So it is what it is.
Yo, another thing. It's like, we said we're gonna say it's not that powerful. Um, I was looking at this whole thing and I'm like, okay, the Super Bowl was supposed to be it. Super Bowl was supposed to really get your boy out of there. And he really just could. I think the magnitude of the situation was just too big. I think the set list was wrong. The set list wasn't really. The set list didn't take into account the type of audience that it was. But do you think there's any truth to folks saying that he didn't want to perform the old songs because of the ownership portions of them?
I thought about that and I heard that as well. In my opinion, you know, as an artist trying to have the best impact, the best performance, I don't know if that's something necessarily one would be thinking about. Like, I
Yeah,
think that you like, yo, I want to put the hottest show on. I want to make the impact. I'm going to do all the joints that people know me for and love. And, I may bring out a couple of, guest features that were moments in my time, as well as drop some new stuff and jewels in between this, that, and the third, and make it a full rounded show. Um, so, I don't know. I know as a, if I was in this position and, an artist like that's trying to put on a show for a Super Bowl, I would want to put on the best records, the hits, and things of that nature. So I don't know. I don't know.
where would you rank the performance in terms of Super Bowl performances of past? And let's put it in context, right? You're in your late 40s. I just turned 50, so we've been through quite a bit of Super Bowls and quite a bit of Super Bowl performances.
Um, I'll give it a 7.
I'll give it a
Um,
7. But if you
yeah,
had to rank it, amongst, like, would it even make your top 10 Super Bowl performances?
top 10. Nah, it'll make it in my top 10. It'll make it a top 10, but not no top 5. Only because that I think also, you see, the thing with his performance also is that the energy that it had behind it. I think also waiting for it also gave it a extra, scrutiny too, and we're looking at it and in all fairness, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, because he he's kind of set up. Because look, all the other performances, there was nothing, there was no story before it. It was like, okay, Beyonce's gonna perform. Okay, you
Right.
know, Dr. Dre is gonna perform. Oh, he's gonna bring them out. Okay, you knew in your head that okay, Dr. Dre's gonna bring Snoop, that, that. You have an idea. For Kendrick, it was like you knew the history, and you're like, yo, is he going to perform the record? Is he going to do something crazy to disrespect Drake even more? Like there was such a whole storyline. So he was kind of an unfair position, So we already have high expectations and fantasizing on what he's going to do, and if it doesn't live up to that and on our expectations at all, we're gonna be like, oh, that shit is horrible. And it's like, it wasn't horrible. It just wasn't to the expectations as you wanted. I think it was a good performance. For a rap artist, and I think he did a lot of the rapping himself. I think if he had more features in and out, it might have made it a little better.
Yeah.
You know, um, his rhyme style, the way he rhymes. I know a lot of people complain that they couldn't hear him in the beginning when he was
Mhm.
rhyming when he's sitting on the ride. So he was just rapping and they couldn't hear the words or what he was saying and how it was being delivered. So I'll take a 7. You know, Now the Beyonces and all that, they top they tens. They're
Listen.
tens.
Listen.
Those are tens.
If I'm rating for a rap performance, I would say it's a maybe a 8 out of 10. If I'm rating it for a Super Bowl performance, I'm not like a 5 out of 10.
But I think for a Super Bowl performance, you gotta say a rap Super Bowl performance.
Right, because even if I compare it to what Dr. Dre and them did, right, because that's the first one we really got like that,
Uh-huh.
then it's only half as good. Like, you know what I'm saying? If that, you know what I'm saying? But that's because these guys perform mega hits. This guy didn't want to do that. This guy performed songs off of an album that was already mid, in my opinion. This, like he really did a GNX-centric performance, and this album is mid, bro. Like, like a song like Luther has no place on the Super Bowl stage. It's too slow.
Too slow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like
I mean, the only way a record like that I think would work is if it was strategically placed in a part of the show where you need a moment to catch your breath and get ready
for the next one,
for the next big record,
Right.
And artists have done stuff like that to be strategically like, we got to put this here because we need a moment to switch up, get the new dancers on stage, do this, that, and the third. It's kind of a behind the scenes thing, but it was cool.
So let me tell you what they did now, and this is what we talked about this last year too, and I said this a while ago. I said after Not Like Us, you need to do him. Ben said that. I said you need to do him. He does not want his career to be completely tied to Drake.
Right.
I said that over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to mess around and he's going to make it to where his career is going to be eternally tied to Drake. And you don't want to be tied to an artist as versatile as Drake. If Drake does not want to do rap music right now, he going to have to do that. If he want to do reggaeton, he can go do that. If he want to do R&B, he can go do that. If he want to do dance hall, he can go do that. You can't compete with that. You just can't compete with it. And what you see happening now is that this guy can just pivot, do a Party Next Door album. It's R&B. It's going to go crazy. People love it. Then you got to Give Me a Hug. He tell the girls, give me a hug, girl, give me a hug. And then singing I Miss You at the end of the record. And everybody's going crazy. I miss you. They're going crazy, right? You can't compete with this guy. Like, you really can't compete with this guy. You can out-rap this guy, but you can't out-song this guy.
Right, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can out-rap this guy. Pusha T or whatever, you can out-rap him, in a flash. And even me saying that you can out-rap this guy is kind of like, because he's nice. Even when he's rapping on certain things, it's like, it's just the hatred for him. People don't really like to really look at how nice he is with his wordplay and how nice he is in the way that he puts his words together. So it's like, yo, you guys are just kind of beating him on the lyrical level, but on the song front, y'all can't compete with him. Like, you just can't. So it's just like, it don't even make sense to kind of keep tying yourself to this guy. So now your Super Bowl performance, now everybody's looking at your Super Bowl performance and like, oh man, he really is not him. And now it's like, oh, okay, he's not him. So now we see the table switching. So now you can't come out with another record about Drake. You can't. It's finished with. It's over with. Like, you can't. And if Drake don't respond to you, I hope he don't. If Drake don't respond to you, what you got? Because now you've built up your whole last year and a half on Drake.
Well, it's according to Kendrick, is game over. So he should be able to move forward.
We see.
And hopefully, I mean, does he come out with anything? I mean,
he don't need to. He need to go on tour. Yeah, he don't need to. He need to just go on tour and do what he do. But if when Drake new album come out, oh my God, it's going to be a problem. When the new solo album come out, it's going to be a real issue.
It's going to
if he can get past the UMG problems.
So this album is really a Party Next Door album.
It's Party Next Door.
Featuring Drake.
It's Party Next Door. They tried to make it seem like it was a joint album, but when I was going on Drake profile, I didn't see it.
Right.
I had to go to Party Next Door to go see it.
Right.
So it might have updated since Spotify since then. So don't tie me to that.
I believe he has. He could clear himself for any record. Who's
that? A Drake?
Drake. He could clear himself for any record, especially if it's going to be on OVO. So he did something really slick contractually to kind of get around it. It won't be considered a Drake project. UMG is not going to count it. So that's interesting, and it's doing its numbers. It's pretty much direct to consumer. So is this
We're gonna wait and we're gonna see what the numbers look like when it comes out, like when it's all said and done for this week, and see what the numbers are looking like.
this could be a test?
Look, he if he goes direct to consumer, or if he finds a working model, it's over with. It's over with. Like, you know
He
what I'm
won't.
saying? It's gonna destroy the music industry. It's gonna do what Kanye was trying to do. He's going to make it. Kanye was trying to destroy the music industry from the inside, from the other side, and I think this guy he's going to be able to do it.
I
And
think Russ mentioned this, where what happens when Drake goes independent, and when he realizes that he makes a whole lot more money, it's a lot less red tape. You know, he don't have to deal with the politics, and he don't have to deal with even the individuals that he now sees or that are backstabbers or whatever. He don't have to deal with any of them. He could just be in his own bubble, do his own thing, and he makes more money. So we'll see what happens with this album. Like he'll see, how it pans out, how it works for him, and he's probably gonna make a decision on, you know, do I need to enter another record deal, or do I need to close this out somehow, or
listen, he has to understand that he can be in a situation where, if you look at what Kanye did, or Ye did, excuse me, he was able to turn his website into a machine where it was making $1 million a day. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
$1 million a day minimum. Once you get your system like that, how do you lose? Right? Because you're guaranteed now to do anywhere between $300 to $400 million a year. In 2 to 3 years' time, it's $1 billion business. Like, he doesn't need to do any of that stuff. He has enough OVO merch, concerts are jumping enough. He can do it all himself if he gets in place the right team. So I'm sure he has his own radio people. I'm sure he has his own marketing people. I'm sure he has his own promotion people. Just set that team up and just have a label inside of the label. You know what I'm saying? And then he should be good to go, and not have to worry about that. And then he already has his online presence, his online store, where you can buy any of his fits and anything like that. And you just got to push a button on that.
and he may have to work out a deal with the distributors himself directly.
Yeah,
You
just
know,
go direct to the Spotify at this point.
yeah,
Yeah, create a new deal. Go direct to Spotify. Do like
yeah.
same thing with Apple. Direct to Apple, and that's it. You don't need to do anybody else. Just do those two for now. YouTube, right? Them, and YouTube, and that's it. Keep it pushing, and create a new system where the customers can do pre-sales, right, or pre-orders.
Hmm.
If you want, custom vinyl, start doing that. You good. You ain't got to worry about that. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
I mean, for someone on his caliber, there's a lot of things that he can do. A lot of bundle deals. But let's talk about that record though.
Give me a hug.
Yeah,
Give me a
he was
hug.
he was going in.
Yeah, when I listened to it first and I sent it to you, I listened to it because I listened, it came out at midnight. I listened to the album and I was like, this is the standout. Especially once it switches up and then he starts going. And
Hmm.
then when he starts, so it has a little bit of everything that he does, right? So the first part of it is a lyrical Drake. The middle part
Hmm.
of it is more of the bounce,
Right,
and at the end now is R&B,
right.
singing.
Hmm.
It's a rap, bro. It's like it's a rap. It's everything that he does well in one song.
But what's interesting is the content of what he was saying, because what he was saying was directly related to what's happening. You know, you love Drake. You know, Drake giving you this, Drake giving you that, and all of a sudden it's the other way around now. You hate Drake, this, that, and the third, and it's a true testimony to what is happening to him and where he's going.
When
And
he tells the girls to give him a hug because you miss me, girl.
hmm.
Shit is the realest shit because it's like the shit musically for a lot of those folks on that side who love his music. It's been dry, and they want Drake. And that's, you know what I'm saying? Like his fans want him. So he's like, you know, and he makes it for the women and he's not apologetic about it.
He made a line, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around this line, but it was to the context of, you just trying to destroy him, and you're gonna leave it to them, like
Who's the beneficiary?
yeah, like you really want to leave it to them, and I'm taking it as he already knows that like the rap game is in shambles. And I'm wondering if the people that he's been, helping out, if he really likes their music at all. Like the lower lyricists. I'm wondering if he's subconsciously like, I'm gonna work with them, but I don't like, they're not lyrical, they're not nice. So when he made that statement of you're gonna leave it to them, I'm wondering like, is that a talk to all the lyricist artists that are trying to knock me down? You want us to leave it to them?
I think that's twofold. I think it's like it's about the lyricism, but it's also about the songs and the music. You know, if I'm gonna leave it to somebody, at least leave it to somebody who can do what I do better.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when I was saying that, yo, you guys need Drake, and they was looking at me like I had 3 heads, and they were coming for me, but pause. They was like, they were shooting for my head, and I'm all I was trying to say is that you guys don't have a viable replacement. Not now. You don't have one.
They're saying Atlanta has not had a superstar in close to 5 years.
You guys don't have a viable replacement. What you guys have had is the Drake stimulus package. That's what you guys had. I'm sorry. You guys had the Drake stimulus package. You guys made the albums with Drake, and that's what prolonged and elevated y'all guys' careers. Like this, let's be honest, man. Nobody don't want to talk about that shit. Be honest, man. The music alone, the music by itself cannot stand. You can't. People were talking about how come Metro and Future didn't get nominated for Grammy and all of that and woo woo woo, right? How come, right? They had the song that started it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happened? It's because without you talking about homie and without him being on your music, it can't really, it's mid. It's mid. It's been mid for a long time, you know what I'm saying? And I know people are gonna tear me up again for that. But let's be honest, man. It's just mid, you know, and it's not the old guy just talking about what it is. It's like you guys have not been able to elevate your situation, right? When we talk about an artist like Drake, let's put it into real context. The lyricism and the wordplay is there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the song structure. The song structures are always correct and immaculate when you're dealing with him. Second thing about the third thing with him now, we're talking about the melodies. The guy always chooses the right type of melodies, know when to put when and where, right? Then we're talking about the way that this guy rides his music melodically. He stays on the beat, and when he's off the beat, it's meticulously off the beat to get back on the beat. He knows how to do the stuff rhythmically, right? A lot of you guys are not as skilled as him. That's just the reality of it. And that's just only 4 things that I'm mentioning right now, but there's a myriad more things that we can talk about as to why his music works. You guys ignore that. A lot of you guys just kind of come out and y'all do the vibe and y'all mumble what y'all gonna mumble through it. And y'all might be lucky sometimes that y'all hitting what y'all hitting, but he's been able to be more calculated with it. That's why he can keep doing it.
But I think that's also why you have such a high respect for him, because so many people are like, well, he's not from the culture. He's not from the culture. And I'm just like, well, damn, if he's not from the culture, he's doing a damn good job and taking his time to study it and taking his time out to really listen and craft and understand and put out some material. Like, for those that are in the culture, you're not even studying. Like, you don't even know who a lot of these artists are that have been coming out before you. You don't have no respect for the way music is put out or the way it's done or recorded. You just get on the mic and just say whatever that comes to mind, and no matter how trash it sounds, and think that's good. Like I always respect when someone takes time to perfect their craft, listen to the music. Oh, this is not good enough. Let me go back in and hit it again, and not just always go up the top of their head and thinking, okay, I said it, it's done, move on, let's put it out.
Yo, and if you think about it, right, the OGs from our era, they never talk against Drake. The OG artists, because the OG artists know how hard this shit is, right? Now I'm not talking about the pundits, the guys that are on the radio that are mad that they can't get an interview with homie, right? Because these guys have the hatred for him because they can't seem to get him on their platform, and he's not, he won't capitulate to what they want him to be, right? And that's and that's the Ebros, that's the Charlemagnes, that's the Joe Buttons. Like, no disrespect to those guys, but at the end of the day, he's not going to do it the way you want him to do it.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's just not going to do it. He doesn't have to, right? He's the most successful doing it his way.
But on the same with the same attitude and the same coin, it's the same thing with Kendrick. Kendrick is not going to do it the way we would want him to do it.
I respect that.
Like
I respect that.
In all fairness, like we want him to rap a certain way and to rap on certain kinds of beats and spit a certain way, which he's totally capable of and have done it and has wowed us and everything. He's not going to do that. At least not all the time.
So I respect that, right? That he's going to do it the way that he wants to do it. And I respect both of that, right? But what I don't like, and this is what I don't like the thumb on the scale, right? If Kendrick is to be anointed the next guy, let it be that through the people. Let it be through the music. Let the music speak to it, but not that thumb on the scale trying to make something, you're trying to sell me something that's hotter than it really is. That's what I don't like. I don't like the people trying to elevate it and make it seem like it's the hottest thing since fish grits, and we know it ain't really that. You know what I'm saying? That's my problem with it. If I want it to be organic, like, you know what I'm saying? And it's not for everybody, man. The same way I could come on the screen, we came on the pod, I say, yo, this Drake album ain't for me.
Right.
It's not for me. You know what I'm saying? The GNX album, really was not for me. You know what I'm saying? We went through the album, we said, hey, we like these songs.
Mm-hmm.
But the overall project doesn't really do it for me. And it's the same thing with the Drake joint. I like these songs.
I think people should respect that.
Right. I like these songs, but the overall project don't do it for me. Right. It's not for me. It's okay for it not to be for me. But also, as a person like you and I who produce music, who are supposed to listen to how music is and how we're supposed to, as producers, make music for consumption.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be able to look at this and say, we know why it works.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Versus, oh, I just don't like it. But I can tell you why I don't like it. Right? Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily just this hating criticism. It's more like, hey, coming from a person who's from people who've been in the trenches with the best artists, who kind of understand what it takes to make music that has to be futuristic at the same time, current. There's a lot that goes into it. So when you see an artist that's doing it at a high caliber like Kendrick and Drake, you got to give them their props. This is hard to do.
Right.
It's hard to do. If you ask me, Kendrick took an extreme risk with GNX. It's a risk. That's a risky move that he took.
They all take risks. When you drop an album, you take a risk.
Yeah.
This could be it for you. Like you could really do a horrible job and it'd be the end of your career and that's it. Sign seems delivered, and he definitely took a risk. And I'm glad that it's received well, because I want Kendrick to continue to put out music. I want him to continue putting out records, and I'm curious to see what he's going to do next after this Drake wave situation is over.
Honestly, I think he can only get better, because I don't think it's his best effort. And I think that's also smart too. I think that's also smart where these guys give you something, but we know it's not his best something. So it gives him room to grow. It gives him room to improve. It gives us room to be wowed, right? You know, he's not boxing himself into the pinnacle of, you know, making the pinnacle of an album. Because once you make an Illmatic, how hard is it to come out with the it was written? How hard is it to top you know, the Blueprint? How hard is it to top, you know, Twisted Dark Fantasy? Like, how hard is it to top these records?
I mean, you know, I would have thought, and you know, Kendrick would have, you know, brought out Dr. Dre. I thought I you know, that's just
because they did that.
You know,
they did that for the previous one, so they can't really do it again.
You know, but maybe something new, something fresh. You know, maybe a Kendrick and Dr. Dre.
How would Swimming Pool would have done on that stage? Thank you.
That's what I was, but that was the record I was hoping for.
Thank you.
But
like, how would his biggest songs have sounded on that stage for that time? Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand this GNX, but bro, it's not your biggest records, bro. Like, I think what happens is that you believe it's your biggest records because the way that the system has propped it up. So from a Billboard standpoint, and you're looking at it like, hey, this is my biggest joints right now. It's because it's about the other guy. It's about Drake, man. And you're getting a boost. You're getting an unfair boost because the system wants us to turn on the other guy. So it's not really, it's not real. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not real. It's a systemic thing that's why he's suing it, because he knows that it's not real. You know, he knows that the music really needs to be a certain type of way to get this much streams. Like, if you're not making an international hit record, you're not going to get this type of streams.
Because he studies.
Yeah, he knows.
He pays attention, and he knows what it takes, and he's been sustaining it.
Yeah.
For freaking years. Maybe
so the man knows that it ain't it.
He knows, right? So he knows what it takes. You know, but you know, the people have spoken. So we gotta leave it at that.
And I like what Gilly said in this recent interview with Shannon Sharp. He said, listen, what if Jay-Z would have let his ego take over after he lost to Ether? He wouldn't be where he is. He said, take your L.
Mm-hmm.
You got enough money to go buy a new ego. Right?
Yeah.
You keep doing you.
Yeah.
And look, you know, you do you, and you'll be fine. Now the question is, all those people who now were turning on homie and using him for promotion, what you gonna do now?
Yeah, because you heard about the Khaled situation, and
what you gonna do now? You can't keep talking about him.
Now he don't want nothing to do with you guys. That's been, you know, getting those stimulus packages.
Yeah, what you gonna do now? You guys are trying to get a stimulus package without paying for the feature. That's how it was working. You guys want to talk about him and use that as the stimulus package because you're talking about him or you dissed him or whatever that is. And that's a stimulus package for all of us. Let's be honest. Anybody that talks about on this subject about Kendrick and Drake, it's automatic, almost virality for you on social media. It's a stimulus package without us even asking for it. This is the truth. This is what people want to talk about. This is what everybody's interested in.
Yeah,
so let's not sit here and act like if we're not talking about Drake, we're not gonna get no traction. It even in this space, it helps.
Yeah,
it's a stimulus package without a stimulus package, and nobody wants to be honest about it.
Be honest.
Listen, let's be honest about it. I've been said it. I need homie to do his thing so he stop tying himself to homeboy. It's over with. Like, be done with that, or else your career is going to be tied to him, and you don't want that. Because now that's going to give you insurmountable pressure now for you to create the songs now to compete with him on a certain level, and you can't compete with him on a certain level. You just can't. You just have to you got to just do you. And, you know, whatever niche audience you got, which is still a big audience, take it and run. All this competing with Drake and all of that, nah, man, negative with that. Like, leave that alone. Like I can beat him in a rap battle, but you ain't gonna beat him in nothing else.
This dude is speaking Spanish now.
Listen, bro, it's terrible, man. But it's
International.
because, like you said, it's somebody who studies and somebody who really knows his craft. He really knows his craft. It's not a fly-by-night artist. This is a guy that really understands cadence, really understands melody, really understands the psychology of women because of the way that he knows how to make music resonate with them. And he knows that they are the ones that's going to drive everything back to us. He knows what he's doing. So, you know, respect to that. And, you know, people going to call me a glazer and everything else. Listen, you can say whatever you want to say. You know, we've cemented in history. We got our plaque. We've been here. We understand what it is. So you can say what you want to say. So we're here. You know what I'm saying? We know what it is. We've been in this business for a long time. We've been around great artists. We've collaborated. We've done great things. It is what it is. Listen, for those who are following us on this, you know, these episodes are brought to you by our ebooks. Make sure you're picking those up to learn the music business. They're available at arkatechbeats.com. Make sure you're using code SAVE10 when you bundle. Mike, any parting thoughts for these folks?
Not really, man. Just, you know, get out there and just do your thing, man. You know, you got a lane, you know, just be the king of your lane. Do your thing.
That's it, man.
I don't really got anything else on that.
Till next time, folks. Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. Make sure you're subscribing and following. Peace, everybody.
Peace.
Arkatech